buddy. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Facebook. I am here with Dr. Paul and Dr. Nancy. Oh my gosh. And my bed is unfolded right behind the camera. Not very ideal, but it's real life. So,
Okay.
It's all right.
It's all good.
Yeah.
so we've got it recording over on Zoom. And so we've each got our coffees and invite you to grab your brew too. And I really wanted to call this meeting together so that we could actually talk about some natural alternatives for health that will benefit not just us, but the planet as we all go through a huge transition collectively, individually, and then socially as part of that too. And understanding that this whole social distancing thing is a big play on the fact that we're so much more powerful when we come together. So I thank both of you for being willing to come to today's meeting and to share some of your expertise with the background that you have as both doctors of chiropractic I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
okay.
Yep,
You
you got
nailed
it.
it, girl. So
Not-
first of all,
not
happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. I hope you give a nice, big, loving hug. And yes, what coffee would you be drinking there, Laura?
I've actually got the Organo black this morning because it's all I've got left. So I've drank through one and then the other, the latte as well. So I've got this Organo black. What about you guys?
I'm on a latte.
Oh, they've got this
Actually, it's my second latte.
one.
I'm having King. This is the fully organic one with
Oh,
the spore part of the mushroom. So I love that it's more nutritionally dense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess just a little background with Nancy and I. We've been chiropractors now. We just passed our 29th year, believe it or not, that we graduating class. I know it's time has flown by, you know. And I guess when at times like this, you think back, you know, okay, so what's the next 5 years going to look like? And where are we going to go? What are we going to do? And your audience, just because I have a feeling of who you are, you're always goal seeking. You're always challenging the mainstream thought process. You're always thinking, what can I do to get better? You know, how can I make things better? And if you're not going in the right direction and growing, then you're going the opposite way and disintegrating. And you touched on the pandemic. You know, a lot of my patients, right now my office is closed due to government regulations. And I'm respecting those rules and regulations, but I find a lot of people are in a state of worry or anxiety. And when you're in a state of worry and anxiety, that leads to what? Leads to disintegration, leads to dis-ease. So what are some strategies for yourself at home that you may want to employ to try and help you through this pandemic? There's a lot of theories out there why it's happening, and I won't even go into that because that's like a 5-hour plus conversation. But you know, the one thing about the coffee is that it has and again, we have to be very, very careful here, Laura, because it's classified as a food product. So you cannot make any health claims. And I got to be really clear because the Health Canada is really being strict on this. I know if it's in a nutraceutical form or a supplement form, Health Canada under Section A has said, yes, the ingredient that's in our coffee can support immune function. And you can actually say that legally, and there's no, you know, big government coming down your breathing down your neck. Yeah. But in the coffee's
lots of quotation.
Yeah, I know, lots of. I'm dancing very carefully here, as you can tell.
And clearly, because you understand it. This is the thing as well that I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go.
But this is the reason that I wanted to bring you guys on, because there are things that you guys know. How long have you been involved with Organo?
Just over 4 years.
4 years. So you have 4 years of experience, of insight. You know Dr. Bob Rakowski very well, who speaks very clearly and articulately about what's going on in terms of control mechanisms and, you know, the fact that it is called social distancing, not physical distancing, because of how powerful we are when we connect. And it's just like, Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich talks about the fact that there's a whole chapter on specialized knowledge. You don't have to have it. You just have to know who has it and get them in front of the ones that need to know it. So it's like, I don't want to have to go through all of the peer-reviewed documents that you guys have already browsed through and then can reference and say, oh, read this. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm working on a book. I'm working at a grocery store. I'm, looking after my papa and doing all the other things that, everybody's life is already full.
Yes.
Including our minds, which is part of the other thing about this coffee that I wanted to eventually touch on within this too, about the rewiring naturally of the neurocircuitry within the mind. It's like I went into the mental institution and was horrified to understand that actually they're still doing electromagnetic shock therapy on clients. And there's a waiting list, like lots and lots of people do it, and then they get the headaches afterwards because you're shocking something that will never be unshocked. It's like this actually is a natural alternative to some of those more traumatic and aggressive systematic ways of reprogramming the mind. This is an opportunity to use it's the myceli, the underneath of the.
I was just can I add something here? Just because you're talking about treatments. So Paul and I last night watched The Fantastic Fungi, and I would recommend that movie for everyone. So it does talk about, not so much, well, there are some culinary mushrooms there, but mostly medicinal. And they will talk to you about some of the benefits. So it does that all of the fungi have their underground network. The mycelium is their root structure. That's how they communicate. That's how they exchange nutrients. And they're finding out that there are more messages that are getting conveyed between the plants than they realized before. So I would recommend that movie. But the other thing they talked about was the use of psilocybins. So with people who have had either anxiety due to, their, I guess, dealing with terminal issues because they've got cancer or PTSD or depression. So rather than having somebody on meds for the rest of their life, they're talking about 1, 2, and 3 treatments. Now, this has to be done with professionals, of course. But if you're talking about just, dealing with medicinal mushrooms and how it can help you right now, it does help to calm your brain. It's great for mind, body, spirit, that whole connection. And it helps to drive the parasympathetic system. So it's very calming. It's a GABA facilitator. So, as a mom, knowing that our kids who are 21, 23, 26 have been consuming the Ganoderma, which is reishi mushroom, for all of this, I am not concerned at all. So no claims here, but I know that I can see that their immunity has definitely improved.
Yeah, Nancy touches on it. So most people are in fight or flight. I see it every day in my office. They'll come in, their shoulders, they've been doing on a computer all day long. They're stressed. They're going to hockey practice, soccer practice, whatever. So you've got to think, when you're in a fight or flight response, where does the blood flow in your body? It'll go to the extremities, because you have to either run or fight. Where in a parasympathetic state, where the reishi has been known to drive the body into, where does the blood go now? It goes to the liver, the kidneys, the brain. Think of it. When you sleep, where does the blood flow? There's 3 major areas where the majority of blood flows. It goes to those things. It goes to the brain, the kidneys, and liver. So how important are those areas? But if you're in a fight or flight response all the time, you're never going to repair. And this is a beautiful, it's almost like upgrading your phone. It's like you're upgrading everything within your body to work better. Now that movie last night, the psilocybin, it helps with neurogenesis. So I love that fact. And it was Nixon that actually stopped the research on it. And just recently, John Hopkins is now doing research with
the last 20 years.
So there's going to be some exciting research coming out, and there's so much from nature that we can learn. And the reason why it's suppressed, of course, is there's not a lot of money in curing people. Let's face it, right? So again, that's a whole other 5-hour talk on that one. But no, it's a beautiful product. And you know what? I love the taste. Like I'll have patients in my waiting room and you'll hear them. I hear them, you know, they'll do a big slurp and they'll say, hey, that's really good. Where do I get some?
Yeah.
And the taste, like if the taste sucks, no one's drinking this. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like you're running out of stock, I think, Laura.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. I'm still waiting on my starter kit. And you guys actually brought me my starter kit, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
So thank you both very much for giving me the opportunity to try it. And ironically, I went and saw my mom and her husband right after. And I gave them a couple packets. I think I gave them like 5 packets or something to try out of the black.
Right.
And I went back yesterday for Mother's Day and Mom's just like, oh, I sent you a text, like, I like it. I'll have another box, please. Like my mom is like, if I'm doing it, she's probably not, like, if she already presumes that it's alternative and is not interested. Like, the fact that my mom was like, okay, like, mushroom coffee, sure. It's just like, WTF? Okay, I'm just going to say, awesome, I'll get you some when I know how.
Mother approved.
I was going to say, there's a case where mom knows best, for sure.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's, you know, the pushback, you know, coffee itself, not talking about the Reishi, but coffee is a language. Like, how many times have you been with a friend and you're sharing a cup of coffee, like for Mother's Day, you know, hopefully you'd be sharing a cup of coffee with your mom or with your wife or with your family. It's just, it's part of the culture. And when you think about it, it's even from a business standpoint, why do you think Tim Hortons does so well? Actually, McDonald's, I don't know if you know this or not, but McDonald's, did you ever see the movie Super Size Me?
Yes.
And how this fella kept having McDonald's every single day of the month, and he was getting like obese, and his blood markers were just going down the tank. And whenever they asked him, would you like to supersize that, he had to say yes.
Yeah.
He had to stop. I think he almost killed him. But again, McDonald's, after that movie, it started to tank a little bit. But what did they do? They actually were very smart. They hired somebody from Starbucks to reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
And what happened? What do you see on the corner now? You know the answer. I can see you're smiling. The McCafe.
Yeah.
And do you know what the #1 coffee chain in Canada is? The McCafe. It's not Tim Hortons. Not at all. It's McCafe.
No, but you get stickers, and we're just big kids in adult bodies. Really, we all just want stickers, and we want to be able to put those stickers onto a card and then hand that card in and be good little students.
That's a great idea. With my next box that I give to a customer, I'm adding a sticker.
Yeah.
There you go.
Coffee Connoisseur Club.
Yeah, and then give them a sticker in every box, and then you get your 7th box free. But that would be a lot more than, you know, ultimately what it costs for a McDonald's coffee compared to the sachets. But even still, like for one sachet, like you could, I'm splitting it into 2, to be honest, because I drink so much coffee. Yeah. So it's like I've had like 2 already this morning, you know, and so 3, yeah, it might be 3, to be honest. I just wanted to, you know. No, I just kidding.
It's Mother's Day. I allowed myself a 3rd.
Allowed yourself? I just didn't have a chance.
I don't even, you know, I don't ever feel guilty having another cup of coffee. I don't have jitters, so I don't have the crash. And I know I'm just getting more goodness. You know, coffee in itself does have antioxidants, but most coffee is very acidic, and you don't want to have more acid added to your body. So the reishi mushroom, which we haven't mentioned yet, is very alkaline. So it's great to help balance.
Yeah. So if you think, if your body's in an acidic state, all my sick patients, my patients with all the autoimmune diseases, the cancers, their pH, which is, I don't know if people on here know what pH is, but there's a scale between 1 and 14. Neutral is 7. Think of a swimming pool. So the swimming pool should be as close to 7 as possible. It's perfect for the environment for you and your body. Where a lot of my sicker patients, they tend to be more towards the 5 and 6 range. And we have to try and shift that to make a difference in their health. And we can do that by introducing products such as, my vegetarians, it's funny, they're on the other side of the spectrum. My hardcore vegetarians, they're more 7.2, 7.5. So there has to be a balance in there. And that's what it is. You want to get your body in balance, homeostasis, so it works better. And if you get your body in more of a neutral state, then your hormones are going to work better, your body will work better, your mind will work better. And again, just dovetails all together. So it was nice.
Well, earlier you were talking about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, and it relates to Stephen Porges's work of the polyvagal theory. If you're familiar with it talks a lot about how the body literally, I don't know enough about it to speak into it from a place of, though I should, because I paid for a course that I kind of like, I was so tired during it. Like, it was out of my wheelhouse. Yeah. I started taking it. It was 6 sessions for like 2 hours each week for 6 weeks. And it was just like going down deep, and I wasn't in a place. And it's like, you've got to be in a place to be able to get it. Because I was speaking with a woman whose daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 10 years old. She's now 16. She has to wear a constant monitor. And she was saying about how much they monitor, especially before a test when she's going to be judged. And, you know, everybody wants their kid to be judged well. But ultimately, it's like right before a test, they make sure that they have her blood sugar levels right on point, because, you know, too little is, you know, going to send her into a place of not being able to focus or concentrate, and then too low is same thing. And it's just like, even with myself, having been diagnosed with a mental health issue in terms of being bipolar, which I believe that we're all bipolar. We're just on different levels of the spectrum. And I fully admit that there are definitely times when I feel myself in the like chemicals and whatever's in my system is just like, it's just like, I feel it vibrating within myself. And it's just like, I've done DMT ceremonies with a shaman and a mushroom ceremony before, but not really having enough to actually go over the end, because you can have like those big, you know, come to Jesus moments in an experience that lasts for hours, but you can also have like a meet your maker kind of moments in those times too. And having somebody to guide you and support you through that process makes all the difference, which is why I wanted to get us together.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's amazing. Dave Asprey, who wrote the book Game Changers, I really like. He also invented bulletproof coffee as well, and he always is involved in biohacks. He talks about ayahuasca. He talks about the benefits, and just basically it stimulates and simplifies things within your neurology, within your brain. You know, even Dr. Joe Dispenza, a huge fan of Dr. Joe, he talks about ayahuasca as well. And there's so many things that we don't know. And we have to, you know, we have to explore these natural remedies. There's everything is here on this beautiful planet of ours. We just have to explore it and see how we can utilize it to the best of our advantage. So again, you know, we have to stay within the legal realm, but Reishi, again, it's the #1 medicinal mushroom on the planet, the most researched, the most documented, and getting medical. There's over 3,000 PubMed studies. Again, what is a PubMed study? It's a peer-reviewed journal article showing that Reishi does A, B, and C. And again, you can give testimonials all you want. Nancy helps with her acid reflux when she was drinking the other coffee before. You know, and for myself, I shedded like 10 pounds in a month just switching to this, because it put my system into a better balance. But those are testimonials. People want sometimes facts. So we can give them those facts on what Reishi actually does. And, you know, does Reishi help with this? Just go to PubMed, type it in, Reishi and depression. And you'll get studies that you can actually review if you want to go that medical and scientific route. So
yeah, these mushrooms have been around for over 2,000 years. So Reishi itself was revered by royalty. So it was was reserved for them only. So if you were caught using it, they would chop off your hand. They knew that it was doing something amazing, wanted to reserve it for themselves, but they didn't know exactly what.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, actually. It's really, it's an amazing vehicle. You know what? Can I share a picture? I'm going to show you a beautiful picture, if that's okay.
I'll turn it around.
Well, this
Yeah.
is our reishi though.
Okay. Yeah.
You actually have a live reishi?
Yeah. Take a look.
Yeah, it's dried.
It's dried.
Wow.
What do you notice there?
What does it look like? What organ might it look like?
An ear?
Well, maybe. How about
Your
your
back here,
kidney? Looks like a kidney, right?
Oh, I have got no idea.
Like a
This
liver.
is why I'm hosting a meeting with doctors.
Or even think of
But it does look like an ear.
it does look like a ear on that one. But
My Halloween costume. There we go.
Vulcan ear. No, they're pointed. But you know, part of our DNA is actually mushrooms. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
We're part mushroom.
We share 50% of our DNA.
So why do you think it works so well?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how
It's familiar content. It's just like the belief systems.
Yeah.
What's a belief but simply a thought that you've repeated more than what you haven't? It's just like it just becomes a familiar idea that's like, oh, I recognize that. It's your reticular activating system that knows to look for that thing because it's been activated, right?
Yeah. When you're looking at buying a specific car, or if you buy a specific car, almost notice you on the street, the same cars everywhere around you, right? So that's your RAS. But you know, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, you know, what you repeat goes into the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind's a blank screen that you can impress upon it, good or bad. And then again, depending on the law of polarity within you, there's a good cell vibration and not so good cell vibration that your body will reflect. So again, it's just an upgrade. It's a mushroom. It's in coffee. It's beautiful. I love it.
And even to that point too, is that sometimes we judge things as being like too much. And it's just like, we've been raised to try to fit it, to try to fit in. We've been told our entire lives, like, don't do that, you're too much. Like, don't do this, you're not enough. And it's just like, we're trying to find the balance. We're trying to find that middle. And then when we get too much or too little, then we feel like we're inferior because we've placed something else outside of ourselves as superior, right? And like, that is less relevant to the coffee. But at the same time, if we actually take it back to the fact that tools make us more resourceful, and then instead of feeling superior or inferior, like just equipping ourselves with people that are going to make us stronger, so that we're not backing ourselves into a wall, so that we're actually connecting to the underground circuit of connectivity, so that we're actually plugging into the neural network of humanity, and then actually using the mushroom within us and then this business model even as the connecting platform, right? It's just like my friend Robert over in Scotland joined the team, and we've never met but ultimately we're connected through a virtual platform, and now we have a common foundation to be able to connect with other experts that are able to share insights and understanding from a scientific perspective, which I'm not well versed in enough to speak into it. And I don't speak into things. It's like with polyvagal theory. It's just like I have a surface understanding, but it's not deep enough to actually lead anyone down a path that's going to take them somewhere good. And it's not good to actually take people where they don't feel safe. And that's ultimately where these neuro pathways are relating with the mushroom. It's just like, would you say that because of the familiarity that we're consuming with the beverage that is familiar, we're actually settling ourselves down? Literally, I said cells, not selves. It's just like we are making it so the system gets soothed with something that's familiar, so that then isn't, what would you say beyond that?
Wow, you just opened up a whole can of worms there. So yeah, each of us has a thermostat, and that thermostat has been programmed up until about 6-7 years of age. And that has created all our paradigms that we presently have. You can change your paradigm if you choose to, by finding, well, I could dive into this one. I'm going to try and really keep it on the light side, but so when you have a paradigm, and you feel safe. Coffee is very safe for you. It's a very easy paradigm. You've seen everybody drink it. You know, your parents have drank it. You know, you drink it, your friends drink it. Mushrooms, actually, some people have fear over, because some mushrooms can kill you, right? So just like berries in the forest, some berries can kill you. But again, when you put a medicinal mushroom into a beautiful product of coffee, it will resonate with the individual. So there's some beautiful, it's a beautiful language that you can have. Oh man, I don't know if I should go in this one. I'm just going to keep it light. So you can change whatever your thought process are, and you can change that thermostat to where you want to go by associating yourself with people that know more, have more, that do more. You can shorten your learning curve into that area. It's like a time machine. And that's what Nancy and I have done. You know, we want to find the best people, the most knowledgeable people, because I don't want to try and reinvent that wheel again, you know, and that's what we have done with this business and this network marketing model. We found the best of the best of the best, and that's who we're learning from. So we're short circuiting the whole learning process.
Yeah, so want to say a welcome to Robert in Scotland. Yes. And we're definitely here to help support people in whatever way they can, whether they wanted information on, you know, the science background of it. But I have to say that this is the most beautiful laboratory right here. You know, for you to try the coffee, it is an adaptogen, and you might respond to it different than I do. So for example, we have a few people who've had high blood pressure, and by switching out their coffee, the Ganoderma has enabled them to lower their blood pressure. And in consultation with their doctor, some of them have been able to reduce their meds, which is great, right? So you have less meds, but I typically have low blood pressure. Now that did not make mine plummet. So it is an adaptogen. So if your body does need, you know, your sugars to be regulated, that's another thing that this does. So people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic, they'll have, you know, they'll experience benefit with that too. So I definitely say try it for a month and see how you respond. And I think I shared my story with you. After my first summer, I was mosquito magnet for years. I could be in a group of 20 people and I would get bit. And after the first summer drinking the coffee, in retrospect, like I think in September, I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't had any mosquito bites. So I knew my chemistry changed right then.
Yeah.
Right? They don't like me anymore. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Changing your chemistry, literally. Yeah. The biochemistry, like we're upgrading physically like our DNA is changing right now, they say, from being the carbon based to being crystalline based as well. And so if we actually think of ourselves like a crystal bowl, then being able to put things that are nice within that very delicate and fragile yet very robust system too makes us less of the one that lives in the glass house.
There's so much intelligence in our body, and so when you give it what it needs, then you'll be able to feel that response. I want to say something it's sort of been in the back of my mind, and I might be segueing here, but you know about Dr. Bob Rakowski. There's another amazing functional medicine practitioner, Dr. Sachin Patel. Yes. And today he quoted on Facebook and he said, I wear an invisible mask. It's my immune system. And I think a lot of us have forgotten. Yeah. No, we haven't, but a lot of people out there have forgotten. It's very powerful when we support it.
Yeah. Yeah. What does the mask symbolically say? Right? It's like the mask symbolically. My mom made me a mask and I like brought it with me because she's just like, eventually there will come to a point where we have to wear these masks. And I say part of this is about obviously the coffee, but it's also about gathering intelligent people that have eyes to see underneath of what storyline we're being told, to say, look, we're individuals, and if we don't create an invisible mask, then we will stay in the fear that keeps us running on this hamster wheel of someone else's making, getting us nowhere except for further into a system that is already broken, and we knew that. It's just, we didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. You know, I think just to minimize stress for everyone, if somebody wants to wear a mask and they feel better, great. I don't want to wear one because I also know that the pores in the mask are in millimeters, but germs are actually nanometers. So it's not really keeping them in or out. So
the only thing it does is if you're coughing, it decreases the radius that the cough will go, you know, so, but again,
it doesn't jump 6 feet.
It doesn't jump 6 feet, you know, or 9 feet or 12 feet. It'll go only a foot, all right, maybe. But again, yeah, the holes within the mask, I think they're guessing, really. They're just doing their best guess. And depending on who they're listening to and what their motives
agenda
are.
Is.
Yeah, agenda.
I feel like it's more actually connected to the fact that we have a biomagnetic sphere that radiates from us. And then on top of that, we have a smaller one that is around the heart center. And when we actually stand within 6 feet of each other, then we're in each other's heart field. So there's connection and there's power to being that close. You can feel each other because we feel with our hearts. So if we can feel each other, then we can feel when something's off. But for instance, so I always go back to my own life and my own experience, but like with the mental health institution. And then after that, a friend had said, you really need to go and do a Vipassana. And so like 10 days in silence. And so I was like, okay, well, I need something. And clearly I was just giving my power away freely, right? Which this even is about taking the power back by gaining the tools. And so with the Vipassana, it was just like, I was in a bit of a, like, I just been in the system for 2.5 weeks against my will. Right. And so I, you know, had a few walls up that I needed to kind of get over. And then in reading through the fine print of this, it's just like, if somebody's in their process, do not talk to them, do not touch them. Well, you can't talk because it's like 10 days of silence, but don't interrupt. You can't interrupt. And it's just like, I got into a story of how terrifying it would be, and that my friend who was a guy that had told me about it, like, you guys might have a great experience, but like as women, it's very easy to be silenced, which I know this kind of takes it away from, you know, coffee altogether and even the masks, but it's just like, I feel like it actually ties it all together perfectly, because right now we're putting these masks on, and it's just like, if we're not in each other's magnetic field, if we're not feeling each other's heart, if we're afraid of each other and socially distant, then we're going to just do that surface of the wave shit that ultimately, you know, even the Bible talks about, you know, building the house deep on something strong, or building it on the surface and having the winds and the rains come and knock down that house at the first fall. Like, we stand together. When we stand together, we stand in each other's heart space. When I was in the hospital, like doing closed circuits, doing closed and open circuits, like when we actually touch, like, are we allowed to touch? Like, if we're 6 feet apart, but we have our hands connected, like just the fingertips, are we allowed to do that? Like, is that breaking the rules? Because if we actually do a giant circle, like big circles, and actually do this respecting of the space so that socially, pardon?
Human chains.
Yeah, if we make some human chains, what would happen if we made a human chain? What would happen if we made a human chain? Like what the mycelium is already doing underground is the network that is there to support us. And then if we're consuming the essence of it, because that's what plant medicine ultimately is, it's like an essential oil. Like the doTERRA lovers, try some Organo, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, essential oils are very powerful, for sure. So you've got to think, we are electromagnetic human beings. We do synchronize with each other, and there's no better example than if you have 3 ladies in a house. Guess what happens every month at the same time with those 3 ladies? You know, eventually they get into harmony and they sync. So there's no question. There's the powers that are being emitted by our bodies. So if we interrupt that, what's that going to affect our bodies? So again, the mycelium, you think of it, the root system, it's like the internet of the earth. And, you know, it has great impact on neurological health. Surprise, you know. So again, there's 3 parts of the mushroom. Maybe we should touch on that, Nancy.
Sure. So I showed you the body of the mushroom. And that's what you're drinking in the black coffee. In most of the coffees, it's the black. So it's good. very good for you. The one I alluded to was the king coffee. So when the mushroom reproduces, it doesn't have seeds, it has spores. So just like a seed, it has potential nutrition, right? So it's got a couple of shells around that have to be cracked, and Organo's found a way to crack them so you have higher bioavailability. Mm-hmm. And for a while we were out of this, and my 2 daughters and I, we prefer this one. And I honestly, when we got it back in this week, I drank it and I felt like it was speaking to me. Like, you sort of said you we're going to say something about ourselves, but you said ourselves. Yeah. Ourselves. I could just feel it at the cellular level. It's awesome. So that's the second part. And then the mycelium, which we've talked about, is how it gets its nutrients, its oxygen. Mushrooms are like us. They need oxygen. They give off CO2, unlike plants. Didn't know if you knew that. So it's nervous system, digestive system, and respiratory system is the mycelium. And really how they communicate. It's like higher intelligence than we even know, I think.
The which systems? 3 systems.
The mycelium. So respiratory, circulatory, and digestive.
And neurological health as well.
And neurological.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that they actually work with those systems within the body.
Yeah, they mimic nature, right? So within our body. So it's pretty cool. Hey, want to hear a funny story? So we're on lockdown as chiropractors, and I'm allowed to go in and treat emergency patients, so patients that are in car accidents or slips, falls, things like that. And I have received so many emails saying, OMG, I'm out of coffee. Where do I get it? So I was in on Saturday. I literally had people, not for chiropractic adjustments, but coming in and buying the coffee. Yeah. So that's how well received it is out there.
Yeah.
So
you don't need to convince anybody.
Yeah, it's like, I don't convince people. It's there. I give it freely in my reception room, and people love it. They just enjoy the taste of it. They enjoy the convenience of it. So campers love it because it's convenient.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a miracle cure, but considering everything that we're going through right now, just the fact that it's calming, it really helps to balance. And for immunity, to know that, like, I feel like for us, this is a little bit of an extra insurance policy, on top of eating as well as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, honestly, I bring these little sachets to work, and then I just keep a couple in my locker, and it's just like, I bring this for my lunch or have it for a break, and instead of eating, then I do this. And so actually the mushroom regulates your digestive system then too, calming it down, so that, instead of having to eat something or craving something, it's like, I kind of realized, like, I started working out at the grocery store a month and a half ago, and it's just like, I'm only working like 4 or 5 hour chunks most of the time. And it's just like every 15 minutes I'm sitting down to eat something. It's just like, eat. But it's just like, that's the socialization. That's the Pavlovian response that we're being conditioned with our socialization system. And it's just like, the system that most of us were indoctrinated into didn't necessarily have our best interest at heart.
100%.
Yeah, just one more thing on digestion. There are some studies where it has been shown that the reishi mushroom helps to promote the good bacteria in your gut as opposed to the harmful ones, right? So that's why sometimes people, when they introduce this, it'll help to detox them. And that's why sometimes, like Paul, he lost 10 pounds with just switching the coffee, and then another 5 with the shakes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So where's the majority of your immune system stored? In your
belly.
In your gut.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful product.
It's the second brain, and it's the second brain. It's the control panel.
Yeah.
It's like, get your gut health good, then the rest of your system's good. But get that brain off, and it's like the same as with mental health. It's just like, something's not right, but how do we know what?
And how many people have leaky gut out there? It's a rampant out there. Now, I'm not saying it's going to cure everything, but if you can get I don't know if people understand what leaky gut is actually. So you think of leaky gut as, so you've got all these, think of grade 9 or grade 10 biology. There's this tube that runs through your body, And after your stomach, there's the small intestine where most of your food is absorbed, the nutrient. And those cells that line the intestinal tract are called epithelial cells. And they're held together by something called tight junctions. So again, don't go glazed eyes over me. Think of a shower stall or a shower. You've got the tiles on the wall, that's the epithelial cells. And then the grout is basically like the tight junctions. And what happens over time is those tight junctions or the grout starts to break down. Well, why do they break down? Well, how about GMO foods? How about lactose? How about pesticides? How about stress? How about the list goes on and on, and or antibiotics. And again, food particles then go between those tight junctions into your body, creating an inflammatory response, which this has been shown 11 different mechanisms, the reishi mushroom, to decrease. So if you can get that gut sealed and healed, you're just going to look so much better. So there's your little leaky gut sermon.
Well, anytime we have leaks in a pipe, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just like, it's just like literally yesterday, my dad, thank you, replaced the plumbing. My dad's a plumber, but you know, a plumber's house is usually the last one to actually get what's required. And you know, dad's so busy everywhere else that it's just like, it's kind of like, it hasn't been like horrible, but it's just been like my showers and Papa's showers, it's just like are fewer because there's no pressure. And it's just like the pipe, there was a little piece of pipe about like that. And it's just like Papa, I got home last night and he's like, blow on this. And it's like, and it's just like nothing hardly was coming out. And it's just like, how do you expect to have pressure all throughout a house when there's a clog? And then equally, how do you expect to get pressure all that way if there were holes? Like if there were a hole, someone would pay attention. But how many people have the clogs that are not being identified because it's not big enough problem?
Yeah, totally.
Subclinical sometimes. Yeah,
subclinical. So
you go for testing, it comes back normal. But you know, if I always say, you know, listen to your body. Most people are fairly intuitive and just, you know, ask more questions.
Yeah. And you know, one of our mentors, Miss Diane Solano, she always says, if you're not, you know, you always look to the outside. If you're not looking good on the outside, something's going on the inside. Yep. And you know, you touch back to the mushroom, you know, shiny. If you see this beautiful, it's beautiful colors. You know it's a beautiful product inside. Okay. So again, that's just a beautiful mushroom. So
here's our daughter Juliana.
Yeah, nice red hair.
Yeah, that's natural.
Hers looks more natural than mine.
Very. Hers is. She's
that's right.
Gifted.
That's right.
That's amazing. Is she left-handed as well?
For me?
Is she left-handed as well?
No.
Left-handed as well. No.
They often say that redheads have a fiery temper and are left-handed.
Not this girl.
No, not at all.
Amazing. That is amazing. So, guys, we've all got places to go, and we've all got, you know, a full life and a full platter, as some people call their plate. And it's just like we've had some time to take time out of the busyness of outside and be home and to kind of get ourselves regrounded. But ultimately, entrepreneurialism is the way of the future. And having a business that offers a residual income just by doing something that we're going to be doing anyway, that then turns it into a healthy habit, is vital. And so I've been looking for an MLM for the last 4 years since I left England, nearly 5 actually, in October. And I've joined 5 before this, or 4 before this. I couldn't bring one with me from England, which is the only reason that I dropped out of doing it. And I knew that I was in a relationship and I couldn't bring the business with me, and I couldn't lose the business and the relationship and my permanent residency all at the same time. So it's like I kind of just decided not to make that my focus. Right. But now when I got here, then I joined Elysian, which is with Apollo Ono, the Olympian medalist, and it's a nootropics company. So really using some of these powders, and he's done so much work to formulate a really high potency product, but it was so expensive. And it was just like, how can I justify selling something that I don't necessarily know how it's helping, and it didn't taste good? So that didn't work. And then I joined Plexus, which is a pre and probiotic gut health company that ultimately, because I understood the necessity of having that gut health, then I tried that, but ultimately there were other things with it. And once again, I couldn't justify spending money on something that I didn't know, I wasn't noticing a big enough result from. And then after that, I joined a financial trading and training company because I wanted to understand I wanted a bigger platform to share about money from an energetic perspective and how all of that relates. So understanding money and how to trade actually makes you more conscious of how you're trading your time, energy, effort, attention, and money, which are the team players that we all share. And we have our own, and then we have, we need to decide when we're going to team up, and we'll end this by the top of the hour. So if that works for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I joined that one, and then after that I joined Vox Life, which is another product, if you're familiar, that has the nanotechnology in the footwear, in the shoes, or in the socks and the soles that help in moderating the body. But I couldn't notice a big difference because ultimately I don't really have anything physically wrong with me to be able to compare what it was all. So it's like, I feel like with this product, it's an opportunity to bring all of the other ones that I joined, and then was just like, well, no, because the other thing is like, I'm doing other things as everybody else is too, right? And so if we actually just give ourselves permission to get back into the present as to what we're doing, and then how to find something that we're already doing. I already drink coffee. I was drinking coffee that whole time. It just wasn't paying me. And also I was just paying to have dead water put into my system, right? Because that's what coffee ultimately is. If you have boiled all of the nutrients and minerals out of the water, and then you put in, Nescafe coffee, which, instant is what Papa and I drink. I like the French vanilla flavor, but like, it's not good for me. And especially with the quantity that I was drinking before, right?
You don't like gasoline station coffee?
Yeah, right? No.
You know what? There are a bunch of network marketing companies, of course, and you need to find something that resonates with you. There are some amazing products out there for sure. But really, if why this resonated so well, because we have a health background, I wouldn't drink the coffee initially. I think I told you that. But then when I noticed what it did, like when you feel it, it's so easy to share. Like, I don't feel like I'm selling it. And people really are looking for multiple streams of income right now, and something that's residual. So for example, while Paul's been off, we've still been paid by the company. Right. And we, at some point this will be willable to our kids. So it really, really is a smart business model. Some people don't understand it. And I'd be happy to have that conversation with anyone, no strings attached, if they just wanted to find out more, about how this works. But too.
Yeah, I just want to add something on that. Is it for everybody? No, it's not. Can you have success in it? Because, we hear a lot of people, well, so-and-so tried that and they never made any money. Well, a lot of people buy gym memberships and they don't go to the gym. A lot of people buy books and they don't read the book, right? And, regarding, it has to resonate with you. The product, you have to be in alignment with the product. Does it do what it actually says it's going to do? Is it something that we do in our regular lives every day, which you just touched on? Absolutely. Does the comp plan of the company make sense to you and your family? Does the company resonate with you? This company started in British Columbia, Canadian-based company, and very, just see the building, the headquarters, very feng shui. It's cool. Right. But, and then you've got to think the leadership, which we already touched on. And if you can check the boxes and all those things, then go for it. And there's so many great companies out there. There's not just Organo. There's so many great companies. doTERRA, great company. Young Living, great company. And again, we've got friends who are high levels in other network companies, they actually have accounts with us in Organo because they're going to drink the coffee and they love the coffee. And we actually support other network marketing companies to be very clear and transparent, because they have great product. There's one company that has amazing glutathione. I want the glutathione, so I'm going to get it from them. Yeah. And so those are things. So you want to make sure the product resonates with you, the company, the leadership, the comp plan. If you can check those boxes, then it's a home run. So, and again, can you make money in this? Well, it's like going to school. Nancy and I, we've done a little education, so we know how to study. But the more classes that you go to, the better marks you're going to get. And it's a reality. You do more stuff, you read more books, you go to more seminars. Guess what? You're going to get better grades. And I said to Nancy, when we started this network marketing company, which I didn't come out of the closet until about 6 months into doing the business, but now I don't care what people think because of the results. Then I said, we're going to see where we are in 7 years. We're at 4. And right now, the amount of volume that goes through our business is the same as a Starbucks franchise, with no employees, no accounting, no bricks and mortar to pay for. And that flows through my business. Are you kidding me? Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, like my mom asked for a box, and it's just like my friend's mom, she loves it as well. And it's just like the people that I'm introducing it to. Even my papa said the mocha wasn't bad. Like for Papa, like that's a compliment.
That wasn't bad?
Not bad?
What's bad? Yeah, not bad. That's a compliment from Papa.
Right? There's a dessert in a cup.
When you know that you can share this and have that sort of impact, like when you know you're going to upgrade their health status somehow, that's amazing.
It's huge. Yeah. One of Robert had actually asked over on Facebook, are these mushrooms, do they have psilocybin, and are they like magic mushrooms, was a question. And so it's a no, but can you speak into that?
Yeah, go ahead, Nance.
So there are probably 5 or 6 medicinal mushrooms that I know about that you can ingest. Okay. So turkey tail, lion's mane, reishi, there's 3, there's a couple more. Hi, sweetie. Our daughter just got home. The psilocybins are right now fairly controlled. Like, you need to have a practitioner that will facilitate the dosage and the experience, right? So no, this will not alter your psychology, your state at all, other than, calming you. So yeah, good question. Just, because it's Robert that asked it, there's a lot of information that's in the Miracle of Organo Facebook group that he can.
I need to add Robert onto there. Yeah. So I will do that. And then Robert also had said, but is it not safer to be more alkaline than acid? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. So I don't know if you know this, but the cure for cancer was discovered in the 30s, and that is that cancer and viruses cannot live in an alkaline environment. End of story.
1932 Nobel Peace Prize winner, Mr. Ottoberg, a German fellow.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of questions. I think, so what does the person on the call do next? That's what you want to think about. First of all, I encourage you, just try the coffee. It's like, it's $1 retail-ish sachet, depending on the product. Like, that's, how much is a McCafe? Like, how much is a Starbucks? It's like $8 a coffee. So you're actually going to save money by switching just to this brand.
And just environmentally too, we have not had paper cups in 4 years on the road, because we have our travel mug. And, the odd time we'll go into Starbucks and just ask for hot water, and we put it in our mug. And, so that's another nice impact with,
and save the sachets too. Touch on the sachets.
Yeah. So the sachets, we, if you notice here, I cut this from the bottom. When I used it this morning for my coffee, the logo intact, and we send this back to the company, and they basically will weave these into beautiful purses.
Oh, you want the logo intact. Oh, okay. Now I know how to cut my sachets better.
Yeah,
I was just ripping them from the top and just doing a little rip, and then it's like I've saved.
Yeah, I think it was originally made to do that. It's easy, but yeah, just so the logo is intact.
Yeah. Okay. No, now I know better. I've been ripping it next to the logo, but I guess.
okay.
Yeah. So and that's a whole program. This they get sent to Thailand, so women in impoverished areas are now employed, gainfully employed, and then they auction these off. So the purses go for like at least $1,000, and all that money goes back to the women.
Yeah. So it's
Wow.
a great cause. It really is.
Yeah.
These are $1,000 worth of sachets here, guys.
So try the coffee, and even if they want to know more, again, you can never make people do things that they don't want to do. And we want people, if they're interested in business building, to really want to learn more. I don't want to, hound somebody. We don't do that. It's almost like a flower and a bee. We want to be flowers and provide information, education out there for people, and let them come to us. I don't want to chase people. That's what some people have done in network marketing before, and you just get away. We just have a valuable product that we want to share. And are you open to trying it? Are you open to learning about it? And if you are, if it resonates with you, great. We have a Facebook group. They can learn things. They can go in there. They can cruise to their heart delight, and then they'll come back to you when they're ready with questions. So that's probably been our best strategy, and why we're so successful is because we provide education for people to make a proper decision. And that's what it stems from.
Good for you. How many people are on your team?
Oh gosh, we have close to 3,000, I think. So, and we're all over the world. Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah. Yeah, check this out. So we've got people in Sweden, we've got people in Mexico, States, Canada, France, and it's
cool. My goodness, that's exciting. I had no idea.
So we're sleeping in. I remember when I think the first 6-7 months in our business, we had somebody in Colombia, in our business. And I remember we were having a Christmas dinner. I went down and checked onto our back office, and we'd made money. And I go, Nance, we just made X number of dollars because someone bought coffee in somewhere, right? Yeah. And that's how it works. Every day as things start to go along, it's almost like you're pushing a car up a hill initially, because you're learning the skills. You're getting things under the thing. You don't know everything about the Reishi, and you don't need to know everything, by the way, but you're pushing, and then you get to the top of the hill, and that's when you start having a bit of a team. Yeah. And then it starts going down the other way. And that's kind of, we're just over the edge of the hill.
Yeah, you know what? Initially it's sweat equity. You're really putting in more time than you're getting, compensated for. But it, does turn around. So
momentum.
It's work, get paid. And then it's work, get paid a little more. And then it's work, get paid. Yeah. So it's a great experience. And, it's less than the cost of a Swiss chalet dinner right now, a quarter chicken dinner, just to get an account. Right. So how much is
$12.50 in Canada.
$12.50 in Canada, $10 in the States.
Yeah.
And my son just walked
in. Got all 3 of our kids home now.
Yeah.
Your children collected for Mother's Day. How beautiful is that?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
This is our baby.
Perfect, thank you.
She loved the latte.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. So we get calls. He's in the States at school playing hockey. Mom, Dad, I need latte. Send me some latte. You're going to get that.
But it does help, because when your system's out of balance, because you've taken something else, which I say this too from the perspective of my grandma, right? She was taking all kinds of medication, and it was poisoning her body. And it's just if you are getting poisoned, or you've chosen, what's your poison is a real thing. Yeah. And it's just is it alcohol? Is it sugar? Is it, too much work, not enough sleep? What's your poison? And then it's just what's a tool that you can just bring in very easily to just soothe out the system and put it into a state of harmony instead of stress. And to bring all of those cells of communication under the surface together, like you guys are going to do in a moment when I bid you adieu, and say, we'll connect again. And certainly I think a lot of people have received value from what you guys have said. You guys are fountains of wisdom. And so I very much appreciate your taking the time with me today to connect and to go where this flowed. And certainly, yeah, would love to be able to do this again soon.
Absolutely. I just want to add one more piece here because I don't know if I answered the question enough. And when Robert asked about, isn't alkaline, being more alkaline better? So this is one of the most alkaline foods on the planet. I don't know if it's the most, but it's one of the top alkaline foods. So
yeah, and you never know what you think Sarah do. This is a chiropractic quote that I used to say a lot. You never know what you think Sarah do today is how it's going to affect millions of lives tomorrow. And you see our network growing of people that are building, but some of them are just consuming because they want to buy at wholesale. And we love you the same amount as builders. So again, just share the coffee, learn about the coffee, educate it, get contact with you. And if there's any questions that you don't know, just fire them our way. And we'd be more than happy to help you out, Laura.
Yeah, well, thank you, because I don't want to have to do everything that it took for you guys to have the insights and knowledge that you do. But I want to have access to it, and I want my people to have access to it. So I'm grateful for your generosity in spirit and willingness to connect and to, do it on a sacred day when, celebrating you who, birthed 3 children into this world. And ultimately, creativity is not just in the physical expressions, it's also in, what we build. It's like, these are our creative babies. And it's like, why have to rebuild the wheel when we could simply instead find something that's already working and then make it smoother, faster, better, rounder, share it with other people so that we can all go up and grow up together. It's just like Paul Martinelli used to always say, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
And it's just like, right now, the tide is rising. Like, we know that the tide is very much rising. And it's like, now is our chance to get in a boat that can actually support us in creating that alkaline system. Like, I feel, and that, like, increased metabolism, there's so much more that we could share in all of this. So let's schedule another call on a time when you don't have children waiting to just
we're lucky to still both have our moms still, so we're going to go see them today.
That's right.
Yeah,
beautiful. All right, well, fantastic. You guys have a great day. And thanks, guys. All right,
bye.
thank you so
much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.